information. Sometimes, you know, you don't even have to go to school. You can take a lot of tests. You just pay the money, take the test, get your authorization or certificates or whatever it is that you need to do. Go clean that stuff up, you know. While you clean that stuff up, and then you probably want to build some houses and stuff. You might want to order from overseas or whatever, you know. And all this is going to do is just going to be helpful for you. You know, now things are happening in the world right now that's kind of crazy stuff. So I don't know how much more time you have to do a lot of things. But, you know, the whole thing is if you're young and if you're out in the streets and you're doing the wrong things and you end up going to juvenile hall or going to jail or doing something and get, you know, then you just messing yourself up. And that money, because this jail system and stuff, you know, they just get more police because more violence, and then it's just turning into a business for them, you know, and that's it. And you're the commodity, so they just running around the street, waiting, you in jail for the rest of your life, you know, and all you're doing is just making more jobs for someone else who just get a high school diploma, you know, or just pass a test, and, you know, they're making 30, 40, 50, I mean, maybe 50, 60, 70, $100,000 a month, you know, a year, you know, just to watch you sit in the cell for the rest of your life, you know, and it's kind of crazy, you know. But all I'm just saying is that, well, I'll make some more videos as I think, because right now my mind is running out of stuff to say. But all you're doing is just creating wealth for other people at your expense, and you're getting nothing. So while you're young, and if you're listening to this and you're 8 years old, or if your parents are having you listen to this and you're 10 years old, or you're 11 years old, or if you're 12 years old, because there's still a lot of kids who are 12 years old that still haven't experienced sex. Just like one of my OG homies told me in Venice when I was in his house and he was up in the bed with some girl, you know, he said, listen. I said, what was he doing? He said he was having sex, and I said, what is it like? He said, listen. If you don't do it, you're not missing anything, you know. And it stuck with me. If you don't do it, you're not missing anything. You can't, or he said you can't miss something that you're not doing, you know, or you're not going to have a feeling for something you're not doing or something like that. I forgot exactly how I said it, but I think he said if you're not going to miss anything. You can't miss anything that you're not doing. And so I thought about that, you know, and like I said, I read a lot when I was young, so I was like, wow, you know, it makes a lot of sense. So I went to high school, you know, uni high, class of the 82, fine women. I went to Santa Monica. It was like when I went to college, when I started college for the first time, you know, and then started meeting these fine girls, sisters, these white girls and stuff from overseas, you know. Gosh, you know, it was a trip, you know, but even still, when we were doing it, they were more into it than I was. You know, I was like, okay, whatever, you know. And even now, I mean, I see these fine women and stuff, but I want to sometimes, and I'm like, dang, but then, you know, it's, you know, but then when you finish, you all crashed and stuff, and I guess you got to know what to do, you know, and, or you get so bored, like sometimes here in Japan, you know, it's really not a lot to do, because not that it's not a lot to do, it's just I just really don't search for anything to do. And like today I'm just gonna get on my bike and just ride around. But you walking down the street, you're like bored, you know, and it might be all hot and stuff, and like I was at Umeda yesterday, man, these women, oh my God. Man, I saw this one girl, she had on this blue mini skirt, and she had 2 sets of panties on. One was the regular panties, and on top of that, she had like a G-string. You could just see through it. And me and my friends, we just laughed at this stuff. But I mean, they just wearing, I mean, come on. She wearing a G-string on top of her pants. What is she saying? You know, is it a style, or is she trying to get some attention? Because these, like I'm saying, these girls in Japan don't get a lot of sex. But what I'm saying, and I'm only making this video just to let you guys know. The reason I'm saying study, go to school, refrain from sex until the best you can. In other words, basically what I'm saying is not necessarily refrain from sex. Don't have kids if you're not prepared financially to take care of them. That's the whole thing. Don't have kids if you're not mentally prepared to deal with the mother until that kid turns the age where that kid can take care of himself or herself. Don't have sex if you're a jealous person. Don't have sex if you're not going to keep yourself in shape and get fat, and then you're going to turn your wife off and she's not going to want to be with you. You know, don't have sex, you know, if you don't have money. You know, don't have sex just because you don't have anything else to do. Don't have sex unless you know what it's all about. Don't have sex unless you know you can control your sexual appetites and stuff like that. And if you do mess it around, then you need to let your wife know who you are. You need to say, hey, listen, I love you, I want to have sex with you, but I'm going to be interested in having sex with other women. Some women might like that because there are a lot of women who out there who might say, oh, you know, don't care about sex. But then that's another thing too. You don't have sex unless you find out everything that this other girl knows about, what she knows about sex and how it's going and all that stuff. Because you don't want to just have sex with a woman who's ignorant about sex. Just like a woman shouldn't have sex with a guy who's ignorant about sex. You know, there's a lot of information out there that you need to know. And the more you know, the better off you're going to be. The more you know, the better off you're going to be. Women can only get pregnant, from what I heard from my last time around. I don't know what the information is now. Only within 24-hour period of 30 days, 24 hours, that egg comes out. It has 24 hours, otherwise after that, you could bust nuts all up in them, do whatever you want. But those days, you gotta, those 24-hour days. But then on top of that, though, they got this fluid that's in them that can keep the egg alive for 4 days. You know, so you need to know when those 4 days are, because the egg's going to come out within those 4 days, and if your sperm's still up there, eventually you're going to get pregnant. You know, so you have to read this stuff, and if there's people out there who know, these girls out here, a lot of these girls know when their periods come in. They like hitting you, like, okay, I don't care, you can come up in me, you know. And another guy said, well, these Japanese girls don't, you know, it's hard to get them pregnant. No, they know when their cycle is. So they're gonna, and I guess they enjoy the feeling of, you know, guys ejaculating inside of them and stuff. So they know, and they're gonna say, hey, do it like this, do it like that, do it like this, and you blah blah blah. You like, oh, these girls, and that's not, and you ignorant. That's just ignoramus stuff, you know. Japanese girls are hard. No, they know when they're what you call this. Now I'm not saying that, you know, things aren't put in their food to keep them from not having babies and nothing like that. But a lot of these girls know when their cycles are, and so these guys are with them and stuff. But when their cycles come and stuff, you know, then they probably sitting in the house and not doing anything, or that's when they playing hard to get, you know. But when their cycles not wrong, and there's no way they can get pregnant, they know it. You know, why not? You know, because in Japan, sex is not a taboo like it is in the United States. So, and that's just some good information. And if you don't know this stuff, then all that's doing is just potentially limiting your sexual fantasies and your sexual enjoyments and your sexual pleasures. So that's what I'm saying. Study this stuff, but you just don't want to jump out there. And I don't care how fine your girl is, because it don't matter what she look like, because all women have beautiful bodies if they exercise. Their only thing that's going to be different is their faces, you know. And makeup can make wonders, because I mean, you come out here and you see a lot of these Japanese women, they have makeup on and they look fine, but when they take that makeup off, a lot of them look 10 to 20 years younger than what they are. This one girl I was seeing my videos, like the one video of Sukiya, the one hairdresser. That girl get that makeup on. She take that makeup off, she looked like she's 14 years old. I swear. She got in my car one time. I went to pick her up, her and my wife, and she had was putting her makeup on in the car, and I was like, what? You know? I happened to look in the back mirror and saw her, and it was like a whole different person. I was like, oh my God, you look like a kid. She started laughing, ha ha ha, I know. I mean, if these girls around here in Japan walked around with no makeup on, most of you guys wouldn't even talk to them because they look too young. And looking young is a good thing. Why not be with a woman who looks 15 years old. Because maybe the whole thing is, maybe that's what we're supposed to look like when she's 35 years old. You're supposed to look that young. But we've been eating all this stuff that's making us look older. So, so like a woman look 25, actually should look like that when she's 50. You know what I'm saying? But and it's warped kind of thinking like, huh? So because you don't read, you don't know. Because of the food that you're eating is aging you, rushing you out, and stuff like that. So it's just a lot of stuff out there that you don't know. So all I'm saying is, if you want to get out there and do all that stuff, fine. My whole point is, it's just that I want more young men to live past 25 without going to jail, with getting knowledge, because if you don't have to go to school to get this knowledge. It's all on the computers now. This in the Khan Academy, he got this great English science program on there. It's just like going to college and stuff, I need to listen to it too and watch it too. And there's a lot of things out there that's free. But if you're so busy with you're so emotionally hyped and you can't control your emotions, you need to relax. Understand that everything you're doing in life is learning anyway. The next day you wake up, while you're sleeping, you're still learning. The whole thing is the information, a lot of information you're getting is not being projected into certain fields where it could make you understand different things, and especially understanding yourself. Because I'm telling you, if you want to go overseas, you're going to need the money. You can, whatever, but it's going to come a time you can go overseas and you go to Brazil and whatever, and you got to understand the economical situations, the social situations that's going on in these countries. You can go in there and ignore it, that's fine too, go to wherever and you see these beautiful women and she'll sit down and start talking to you, if she speaks English, and start talking to you about because I'm sure you guys don't want to go to a restaurant and just talk about sex all day. Alright, all those who could talk about sex all day with a woman in a restaurant, she's sitting there talking about how she like big penises and, and different, and her talk about her friends' anatomies, and you can do that all day, every day. Who can do that? I'm sure she might do it, but they got other things they want to talk about. And the woman might bust out and say, well, I want to go to such and such country. You want to come with me? Okay, sure. And you think you're just going to go there and sit on the beach or something. She want to go there and look at some archaeological sites and stuff like that, And you're like, well, why you want to go look at some bones? And she's like, I'm not. Well, actually, it's a lost city that. And you're like, well, I don't know about that, And then the more that, because the whole thing is, in order to keep a really good relationship, there got to be this communication, and this communication has to be two ways where both of you are helping each other, learning each other, talking about things, and you have to understand what the other person is talking about. Like the other day, my wife got this Japanese junior paper where all the kanji is written on the side of hiragana, and I was reading it, and I said, look, I'm studying this, and she looked, and she was so happy. She said, come here, give me a hug and stuff, And basically all it is just that it's just saying that, hey, I want to communicate more with you because I'm not really that fluent in Japanese, And when you show that you have an interest and you're able to express it and show it and really talk deep and stuff, and these women understand what you're saying, that stuff is exciting, talking about physics or whatever, the moon or whatever, I don't know, and that stuff is fun that people get to talking about it because they get to share knowledge what they know. They have a chance to express themselves. All that stress is going out, the emotions start flowing up, and next thing you know, bam, you could be in some girl's house, and it's just you and one of your homeboys. It could be like 3, 4, 5, 6 girls up in there, y'all talking and stuff, getting on a good conversation. Next thing you know, y'all butt naked doing what y'all doing and stuff, and that's just a natural response, and especially if y'all know how to, because like, it's this thing, where you can know how to